Turning our attention now to the ASX, here's Matt Birney and Bulls and Bears with the latest public company views and interviews.
Welcome to Bulls and Bears, where we break down the latest ASX announcements from public companies that are doing interesting things. Today's Bulls and Bears report is brought to you by Australian Potash, ASX code APC. I'm Matt Birney, and I'm joined now on 6PR by the Managing Director of Australian Potash, Matt Shackleton. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Australian Potash is looking to manufacture a sulphate of potash fertiliser product from its rapidly developing Lake Wells project in Western Australia. The project is racing towards production with a lot of the funding in place, offtake agreements locked away, and most of the construction and manufacturing contracts now in place. Firstly, Matt, what is sulphate of potash and how is it used?
Sulphate of potash is a fertiliser. It's the world's premium form of potassium fertiliser. So every plant on the planet that grows needs nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Our sulphate of potash, or SOP, is that source, that premium source of the potassium for fertilisers.
This week you announced some additions to the project that you say will enable it to turn out a premium sulphate of potash product capable of attracting higher market prices. How are you going to do that?
So sulphate of potash already sits at the premium end of the potassium fertiliser spectrum because it's better than its bigger cousin, muriate of potash. So what we've chosen to do with our Lake Wells SOP development is we're going to add a granulation circuit and a bagging circuit to our process plant. What that allows us to do is to hit the ultra premium end of the potassium fertiliser spectrum. So, you can imagine when you go to Bunnings and you buy a kilo of sulphate of potash, you're paying about $14,000 a tonne for it. Now, we're not going to get $14,000 a tonne, but we're certainly going to get more if we can put it in a bag and more if we granulate the product. So we've spent about an extra $36 million on putting in a granulation circuit and a bagging plant at Lake Wells.
Your rejigged front-end engineering study tabled this week contains a lovely set of numbers. Let's go through them in rapid fire. Firstly, how much is it going to cost you to build this thing?
$292 million.
Okay, is it a fixed price or is this a risk involved?
No, so what we've done is we've paid about, or we will pay about just over $10 million to get an insurance policy effectively in those contracts. So they're fixed price, fixed term, performance guaranteed contracts over more than 75% of the development built.
How long will it take you to pay that $292 million back?
Approximately 4.5 years.
How many tonnes of sulphate of potash will it churn out a year?
170,000 tonnes per annum.
And what's the projected mine life?
30 years.
How much money will it make a year? Let's go with, say, EBITDA.
So we are forecasting to generate about $124 million in EBITDA per annum for the next 30 years.
Okay. And how much of the planned production is already spoken for by your offtake partners?
Binding offtake, take-or-pay distribution agreements for over 90% of the product that we'll produce at Lake Wells already in place.
And I see Mark Creasy tipped about $850,000 into the company this week, and he doesn't tend to back losers. So, Matt Shackleton from Australian Potash, thanks for joining me on 6PR today. And remember, Bulls and Bears is only here to give you information, not advice, which you should, of course, seek independently. I'm Matt Birney. Thanks for listening to Bulls and Bears.
For more public company CEO interviews, go to the Money page at 6pr.com.au and click the Public Companies tab.